Welcome, one and all. Step inside. I'd like to have a word with you. Today we're going to get bumped up. In this episode, we're going to talk about health, fitness, doctors, going to the doctors, a little bit of food, some Vit-a-mins and suuuperments. Of course, we'll dip into the ideas about Rona, but not too much. We'll save that for another time. This episode is more focused on general health and fitness. Who knows? You might just get a six-pack while you're listening to this show. A six-pack of root beer. I know, as corny as the toes on a witch.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
The Jared Show. Lightning has just struck my brain. I thought to myself, wouldn't it be fun if I was sitting on a beach somewhere doing this podcast? Or maybe instead of a beach, it could be a meadow or a field. Or how about right smack dab in the middle of Times Square? Actually, I've been there before, but it's a story for another time. Then I thought, how could I do a podcast like that? What with the Rona running rampant these days? So I thought up a solution. Then I created a YouTube channel so you too can check it out. So go check it out. The Jared Show Knowledge Podcast on YouTube. Links in the description. Y'all, this here's JT Tucker. Have you heard about that feller, that guy, the idea guy? What's his name? Jared. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, my cousin's friend's girlfriend's sister-in-law told me about this fella, so I gives it a listen, and shoot if it didn't get me thinking. And a laughing, and dak nabbit, it got me thinking again. But this time my brain didn't hurt when I was thinking, it just sort of was. What it was sort of nice, I think. Anyway, check out that fella, the Jared Show. Thank you kindly. And welcome back. So, I fell off hard. I worked out for 20 straight weeks, except for Saturdays. I even created a meal plan and bought prep containers and everything. And I was hyped about it. I was super hyped about it. I really wanted to, I was trying to get a six-pack. I was trying to look better. I was trying to do stuff. The first month went great. And then after week 18, I somehow got it in my head I needed to stop working out in the morning. And one day led to a week, and my streak was over. I tried to hold on to that streak and say, and I said, no, I'm just going to start over. And I didn't work out. I think I didn't work out for, a couple weeks. Maybe even 3. I think it was like 2 weeks. And I was like, you know what? Like, what am I doing right now? Like, I want to run is what it is. I want to be able to be a runner, which is hilarious because I used to pick on runners. Like, I used to talk crap about runners all the time and be like, why are you running? And the only reason I did that is because I play basketball. So I'm like, why aren't you like playing basketball, or why aren't you like doing something with the running instead of just running? Now I'm at this point of like, I would love to be able to run a 5K, which is I think it's like 3.1 miles. I would love to be able to do that. I think my goal right now is probably to be able to run like 5 miles 3 times a week. So my goal is about 15 miles a week, maybe even 20 at some point. But right now I can't even run a mile. I've tried running before. But yeah, I now I'm building myself back up. I was building myself into it, and I was doing strength training, and then I was going to jump into cardio. And there's this funny story. I tried really going hard at jump rope, and this is how out of shape I kind of am, honestly. You can't really tell just by listening, or if you're watching the YouTube video, you would see what I'm talking about. But yeah, you can't really tell, but I am a little out of shape. I'm not like super out of shape, but yeah, I tried jump roping. I jump rope hard for 10 minutes, and my calves, I thought were gonna fall off of my legs. It was ridiculous. But I am back at it again. I fell off, but I'm coming back. I'm coming back strong, and I'm coming back for the long haul. Right? So my plan now is a little bit different than it was. Now I'm mixing cardio in with strength training and trying to do both kind of. And basically what that is just, I'll get into this a little bit more in depth later, but basically it's, doing push-ups, stuff like that, and then walking, and then eventually getting into running. But yeah, I'm just kind of taking it day by day. The thing is, I don't feel that unhealthy. I just like to have more energy and be able to do more. And, to be frank, to be upfront about things, I would like to have a six-pack at some point. That would be interesting. When I was younger and I had a higher metabolism, and let's be honest, I smoked a lot of weed, and I did a lot of, stupid stuff. I could live off of anything, and I could do anything, and I just was fine. I had so much energy, and I was willing to do whatever, and I stayed at 120 for, I think, like 15 years or something. I ate once a day, just because that's all I needed to do, and it was great, and honestly, I've not been to the doctors in 10 years, except for the last time I went to the doctor. So I went to the doctor last time, I think in was it 2018? 2019 is when I went. But before that, I haven't been to the doctors in a good 10 years before that. Easy. 2009, something like that. 2008, 7. And I've rarely gone to the doctors. When I was little, I had some problems with ear infections, inner ear infections. I had that all the time. And I finally got over that, though, when I was probably, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12. No, yeah, I finally got over when I was about 13. And it took a while, but ever since then, I just have not really had to go to the doctor. And I've been active. I've gone to the doctor a few times here and there. I remember one time I was in Florida, and this actually happened to me again, but I twisted my ankle so bad, my entire left foot. I think it was the same foot again. Last time it happened in California, but I was in Florida, and my ankle twisted so bad, everything got messed up so bad that my entire foot on my left side was completely black. And it really freaked me out. And I went to the hospital. They made me put my foot up, elevated. My dad brought me there. I think I was like 17, 18, something like that. And Dad brought me to the hospital. It was freaking him out. And we went in, and I had a good experience. Went to the ER. They put my foot up, gave me they gave me Tylenol 3, and did fine. It really wasn't that bad. It looked crazy, I can tell you that, but it ended up being fine. And then it happened again, both of them when I was playing basketball, but it happened again in California, and the same thing happened again, and this time I knew kind of what the deal was, so I didn't even bother going to the hospital. I just iced the crap out of it, and it turned out pretty good. But yeah, so there's very few times I've been to the doctor's office, but the last one that I went to, I hesitate to actually call it a doctor's office. I think it's more like a chain store, and I'm gonna try not to use the name specifically. I don't know if that's slander or not. I'd love to, but I'm gonna try not to use the name specifically. Maybe you can glean it from what I'm saying here in a minute, but we're gonna get into that right after this stupid commercial. I'm going to tell you the story about the last time I went to the stupid so-called doctor's office, and what a ripoff that was. It really pissed me off, and I got probably the most angry I've ever been in public, just because I got ripped off so blatantly. you know. And I don't have a whole lot of money, and, you know, it really ticked me off. We're going to get into that here in just about, I'd say, 30 seconds? 30 seconds. We'll be back. Have you played every game on Earth? Watched everything on Netflix? Seen every movie and TV show there is? Including the ones that haven't come out yet, because you know a guy that can get really good bootlegs down at the corner store? Searching for that next thing to help you get through your run, workout, cleaning, workday, or homework? The Jared Show can help cure your inevitable boredness every Sunday and Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Just hit that subscribe button and let's go! Nailed it. So, welcome back. So I was telling you about my last experience at the doctor's, minus all of the Rona, okay? So we're really talking in terms here of more minus the Rona, the Corona deal. This was 2019. Was it 19? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, 2019. Actually, probably about a year ago now. And so I go to the doctor. I'm feeling, I had some symptoms. I had, itchy scalp and some itchy skin and blurry vision and eyes and some other personal things that I'd rather not put all over the airwaves. But, some problems I was having. And so I go in there, and with a doctor, you got to be kind of candid. You got to be really kind of upfront. You got to really tell them, look, this is what I'm dealing with. So I was getting all freaked out about it. And I said, look, I'm going to go in. I got talked into it by someone. They're like, look, let's just go. You can stop worrying. I said, all right, so we'll go. So I went in, and I went to this place that they're supposedly doctors, and it's their duty to be doctors, only they weren't. They were worse than a bad waitress trying to upsell you. Would you like cheese with that? Or how about something to go? How about some dessert? Would you like some dessert? Wouldn't it be nice to wash that down with another? It's like, come on, man. And that's the way I felt these so-called doctors, this doctor, did me, man. I was like, this is ridiculous. So let me paint this picture for you. We went on a Sunday. They charged me extra for that, which I didn't know until I got the bill, which I had to refer to as William because it started growing so old. It's ridiculous. Waited 3 hours in the waiting room. Sat in the waiting room finally got through, right? So I go through, and I'm sitting waiting, all nervous, like, oh no, and it's not that I get nervous in doctors, don't get me wrong, right? And that's not the reason I've not been to doctor's office. I've just not been to doctor's office because I didn't have to, right? I could always look up or solve my own problem or whatever. This time I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to a doctor. I haven't been to a doctor forever. Might as well check it out. So I'm sitting in my own little room kind of deal, right? Wait there for, 40 minutes. Doctor finally comes in, talks to me for 5 minutes, and he's like, well, why don't we take some tests, why don't we do a little test, and we'll have you pee in a cup. I said, all right, so I pee in a cup. Wait another 45 minutes. Doctor comes in with the results, which really didn't tell him anything, just ruled out a couple of different things, which I was grateful to rule out a couple of things with, what was going on, but, he talks to me for another 5 minutes and leaves again, right? So far I've seen the doctor. I've waited almost 4 hours to see this doctor. I've talked to him for a total of 10 minutes so far and peed in a cup. I wait another 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Doc comes in, talks to me for another 5 minutes, and basically is trying to upsell me and tell me, well, you need to go see a specialist for this, and I can't tell you about that, and da-da-da-da. He did look in my ears because I was concerned that my ears might be a little clogged. And so he looked at my ear. Well, I don't see anything wrong. Your ears are fine. And basically, it was kind of like he was just there to sell me on going to a specialist. And I'm like, what is this? So, at the end of the day, I didn't really get much out of anything. And I walk out of there. I'm like, all right, well, I'm trying to figure out, like, what did he tell me? Like, to me, I'm trying to figure out what am I going to tell the person that's waiting in the waiting room what the doctor said, right? Because I'm usually that person in the waiting room, and I'm like, okay, well, what did the doctor say? And you feel like you got, sold a used car by a used car salesman, and it's such a blur. It happened so fast. You're like, I don't know what he said, right? So as I'm walking out into the waiting room, I'm trying to remember, like, what am I going to tell this person when they ask me that inevitable question? Well, what did the doctor say? What am I going to say? And I'm like, I have no idea. I saw the doctor for a total of 15 minutes after waiting a total of over 4 hours, right? And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm gonna say right now, right? So I get outside into the actual waiting room with the person that took me there, is waiting, and I get my bill, and my bill is $350. So I waited a total of over 4 hours, at least 4.5 hours. Saw the doctor all of 15 minutes. Took one test, and then they upsold me on another test right before I was about to walk out the door. I'm in the mind frame of like, whatever I got to do to get some kind of results, you let me know. I don't want to have to go see a specialist. I'm already at a doctor's office, right? So I'm trying to get answers here, why do I have this, and what's this symptom about, and that kind of thing. So they upsold me another test that was going to cost me another $150, right? So I go out and I get this bill for $350, and I hate to say this, but I saw red. I just lost my fucking mind. I have never acted that way in public, and I flipped out, and I started screaming. Here's the thing, I didn't attack anybody, okay? I didn't go after anybody. I didn't say anything towards one person, maybe save for the doctor. All I got but it was more a general premise. It wasn't even his name, So I'm screaming and yelling and carrying on. And one of the nurses comes back, and she's, in the middle of all this. She's like, well, do you not want this test? And I said, well, how much is it? And she says, $150. I said, well, I'm already paying $350. So you're telling me all of this is going to cost me $500? That's ridiculous. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And it really, the whole thing, even thinking about it nowadays, still gets to me. And maybe I'll finish that some other time. I don't have time here. But, that place wasn't there to help me any more than a big chain restaurant is there to serve me food. Both are there just to make money, not to help people. That's for sure. Only by eating better, watching my sugar intake, stress level, and exercise did I ever get over the minor issues I was having in the first place. Here in a minute, I'm going to get in. We're going to do one more commercial here. And I'm going to get into the things I do now to maintain my health, what's worked and what hasn't. And I tell you what, I'm going to make a promise to you right now. You ready? I'm going to be back in 30 seconds, so this podcast is free. That's a guarantee. Hey there, just a quick message to say thank you for listening, and if you've enjoyed what you've heard so far, hit that subscribe button. New episodes every Sunday and Tuesday at 10 p.m. By the way, don't forget to check out the YouTube channel. A link will be in the description, or you can just look up The Jared Show Knowledge Podcast on YouTube. You never know what you might see behind me. Alright, welcome back. 30 seconds. What can I say? It was free anyway. I don't know. It might be, was it 30 seconds? Did you count it? Did you count it out loud? Or you just looked at the time? Maybe the time's wrong. Right? You need to count these things out loud. Okay, so here's the thing. Turns out the problem I was having, things like itchy skin and several other things were really caused by way too much sugar. And just not enough water. Even now I can feel myself as I'm a little parched. But, here's the thing. There was even a moment after I went to that doctor. I remember it because it was during the NBA Finals. I think it was Game 3 or Game 2 of this last NBA Finals, I think in June, where I was extremely lightheaded to the point where, I was walking around this apartment, this house I was staying at, and like my vision was going in and out. Like I was lightheaded. I was standing, going to the bathroom, and just like feeling like I was about to faint. My vision was just all over the place. I mean, all over the place. Just darting back. It was like I couldn't see really well. And I almost fainted. I remember watching the game, and I stood up. I was standing in the middle of the room in case I did faint. I didn't want to land on something. And I just kind of stood there for a minute, trying to gather and taking deep breaths and trying to gather myself. And really what it was, all of that was because I was severely dehydrated. I really was definitely not drinking enough water. I was really severely dehydrated to the point of almost fainting. And my best friend in the world actually helped me through that whole process and helped me get some Pedialyte and got my electrolytes back up and really kind of helped me get back into health a little bit. But my body just was dying of thirst and needed water. Now I drink a little bit more water. I still do drink a lot of caffeine and sugar and Mountain Dew. I'm in the process of changing that. Trying to get to where I'm drinking at least 4 bottles of water. I think today I've had maybe 1. So it's a process. It's not something I'm going to snap my fingers and everything's going to change. But another thing I got into was testosterone. And no, I'm not trying to sell you some kind of stupid ass pill. I will mention something though. It's a supplement or a herbal supplement that I've started taking. And I have no affiliation with anything to do with this at all. I'm just kind of letting you know, it's something I've been doing, which is taking a thing called ashwagandha. I call it the ashi or the ganda. And the ganda has been pretty well. It's been pretty good. I did a lot of research on it. I looked it all up. It turns out, and maybe I'll do a whole thing on testosterone at some point, because I think it's really important for men to kind of get that idea, and even women too. I think women kind of tend to overlook that as well. So, to me, it's interesting that what testosterone does and how it affects people's energy and all these kind of things. But for me, I just found that I had some pretty easily diagnosed symptoms of low testosterone, and ashwagandha is great. It lowers stress, it lowers cortisol, which is can build fat and all these kind of things. I'll get into it. We'll do a whole thing about it, but because I've been really getting into it, I think testosterone is an important thing. So anyway, I started taking ashwagandha. I started taking some magnesium. I started taking some zinc. And yeah, I've noticed a lot better energy. I take about 1,400 milligrams every day. Except for Saturdays, I let my body reset. When it comes to magnesium and zinc though, okay, when you look at the daily value amount for magnesium and zinc, a lot of times you'll see, depending on what your dosage is, I think if it's 50 milligrams per thing of magnesium, that's like 119% or 120% or something like that. That's a lot. And if you're taking that every day, if you're getting way too much magnesium every single day, that's probably not a good thing. So I don't take it every day. Same thing with zinc. I think zinc is 119 or something like that. And that's just a lot, I mean, I still eat food. I'm still getting those things somewhere else as well. So I kind of pace myself with those things. But they have helped. They have given me a lot more energy. And here's the big kicker. Here's the big thing I decided to do. Actually, way back when, I decided to do this last year, as a matter of fact. The beginning of last year, I went and started playing more basketball, exercising more, and eating a little bit better. I did fall off a bunch of times, including this time even. But I keep getting right back on. The whole point is that I tell people this. I know I've seen a lot of people go on meal plans and diet plans and all that stuff. It's like, at the end of the day, right? I like pizza. At some point, I'm going to eat pizza again in my lifetime. I'm going to eat a lasagna sometime in my lifetime. I'm going to eat food that tastes really good. I'm going to eat a big old messy sloppy cheeseburger again in my lifetime at some point. It really comes down to just portion control. And I've said this might sound disgusting or gross or whatever, but here's the thing. And at the end of the day, if you're putting in more than you're taking out somewhere, okay, whether it be waste, whether it be sweat, or even exhaling, right? Now, I saw this really cool study. I'm going to wrap this up here in just a minute, but I saw this really cool study about when you burn fat, where does it go? It's a TED Talk. Look it up on YouTube. It's amazing. It was really awesome. It's the science of where does all the fat go. I'll sum it up for you, right? So your fat, when you lose fat, right, it's been proven that 87% of your fat gets exhausted via your breath, so carbon dioxide, which is amazing, right? The rest of it comes out in liquid or fluid, right? So peeing or sweating, right? So interesting fact there. But what's even more interesting about that is you recognize, like, if you're taking in way too much, if you're taking in 5 pounds worth of stuff, where's that 5 pounds supposed to go? If you're taking in 5 pounds of stuff every day, right? Your body it's not equipped to deal with 5 pounds of food every day. I mean, again, I'm no scientist or anything, but I think it's just simple math. It's just common sense at the end of the day, right? So here's the thing. I did fall off the wagon, or maybe I got back on the wagon. I was on the wagon, right? I was being lazy, but now I've gotten back off the wagon, and I'm gonna walk it out. Bottom line to this whole thing is I do feel better, but it wasn't because some doctor prescribed some miracle drug for me. Something I've learned here, I want to leave this with you. Something I learned is that a good doctor, much like a good therapist, is there to find ways for you to help yourself get better. Now, I've never been to therapy, but I understand the mechanics of it, right? A therapist, much like a doctor, is there to ask you questions to help you solve your own problem. Now, yes, a doctor goes a little bit further, and they know a lot more about physiology than most people do, much like a therapist knows more about psychology than most people do, and they can kind of dissect things and pick things apart. But here's the thing. A good doctor is going to tell you how to change that physiology to get something that's a lot more healthy, right? And the first things they're going to start with is natural ways of doing that, right? Lifestyle changes, right? That is going to help your health, or, so that your health gets better in certain aspects, at least partially help your health. Now, if you don't go for that, and then you're not willing to do the lifestyle, much like going to the dentist, and the dentist always asks you, have you been flossing? And you say, no, I just haven't, So the dentist is going to say, okay, well, here's some fluoride, here's some whatever, right? Same thing the doctor is going to do. If you're not willing to change your health by doing it with a lifestyle, here's a pill that's probably going to be able to help you. Or, it's a pill that you need because, something like Plavix or something that's a blood thinner, that you need this, and this is what's going on. Here's the thing, though. If you are unwilling to change your lifestyle, and you're unwilling to take the pills that they've given you, at the very least, there's not much, not only the doctor can do for you, but anybody else. Really. Having said all of this, God can do miracles and heal those, but only those that want to be healed. God can heal people, but only the ones that want to be healed. As the greatest physician said, Jesus Christ said quite frequently, your faith hath healed you, meaning you wanted to be healed, you believed it could happen, and it did. Anyway, thanks for listening. I'll be back with another episode on Sunday. The next episode is going to be about why sports is good for your kids. Don't forget to check out the YouTube video. Check out the link in the description or look up the Jared Show Knowledge Podcast on YouTube. Thanks for listening, and may God bless you. Peace.